Very good. Tony, what do you have for us today?
Well, first of all, here's the minutes.
All right.
First, we have the accounts payable claims. It's in the amount of $263,437.29. 263,437.29. You should have all been emailed the claims previously. If not, they're contained in here. Make a motion to approve. Second.
All right, motion carried.
To approve the claims as presented. Next, we have the payroll claims. In the payroll claims, in the amount of $361,812.77. 361,812.77.
And that's pretty typical.
Yeah, after the pay increases the council approved, these are the new, this should be pretty
That's the
standard.
new rates. Okay. All right. Very good. Anything to point out on there? Otherwise, we look for a motion to approve payroll claim.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. You want to look at them or you want a second?
Oh, second, sorry.
Sir?
All right. The final thing that I have is the outright monthly claims. And we got this way, and we actually sent an email to ask a question on part of this, because this is a lot higher, but we realized this is normally admin fees and so forth. And this time there's, as you'll see on here, there's an allied annual fee of $7,500 added. There's an annual bank fee of $3,000 added, and so forth and so on. Now, there's a charge on here for $13,348.55 that says medical premium. We are not exactly sure what that is. We haven't received an answer back from Mike yet, have we? So,
Is we going to wait to approve that until we find out, or?
I mean, I don't know. The amount is $93,699.58, which obviously is a lot higher than the monthly cost normally is, but that doesn't necessarily had annual fees added on here. I don't know if Mark was.
Is that typical to have annual fees in January?
Yeah, the annual is something from under, because every year, the three,
The one thing is what we had the question.
yeah, it's just that medical premium of 13,000 something that was not on last year.
This is what, I may have an answer to you yet.
I sent Mike an email, he said he would get back to me as soon as possible, but it also said he's at a conference I think right now, so I don't know how fast. I don't know how fast I'll get back.
I mean,
How urgent is that due as far as?
Let's do the 15th, which
February 15th.
next week I won't be here, so the earliest it would be paid is the 14th. We have AIC next Tuesday, Wednesday.
I mean, I would assume that if Mike finds something in error, they can reimburse or credit or something, I would assume.
Have you ever seen that, Mark?
I'm not gonna say I haven't. I just don't know if the questions come up. It could be,
Well, he wants, maybe he'll answer you.
We did it last year, and we had some.
Make a motion to approve pending, an acceptable answer on that one question.
yeah, that's fine.
We can forward the answer out to you in response.
Yeah, if you guys are satisfied, I'm comfortable approving it, but I don't want to, until you get your answer contingent upon.
Well, that way we could, they'll know we're waiting on an answer.
Yeah.
Pressure there.
Yeah.
Yep, that's fine.
So I'll make a motion to approve,
Pending an acceptable answer on the one question that you guys have.
On the 13, what was it, 13?
yeah, 13,335.
13,335, yes.
35.
Make a motion.
Okay.
And we always have that annual bank fee.
The only thing that's odd is the medical premium that we didn't see before, so we're just waiting on the answer.
I'll second Steve's motion. Okay, motion carries to approve that claim pending clarification. Or if that's the way you worded it.
But anyway, so I'm trying to get out of time.
All right,
Yeah, it's a huge number.
very good.
And that is actually all that I have.
That's true.
Okay, I think the other things that would concern me whatsoever, Mark, will handle under county attorney, correct, Mark? The insurance stuff and all that.
Okay, very good.
Big bucks.
That's right. All right, Brad, what do you got for us today?
Not a whole lot,
Yeah.
just some discussion.
No permits to approve, no.
Hey, no.
All right.
He always wants a road. Yeah.
So of course, with last week's event, we went out Wednesday, as the event was going on. All the trucks were out by 9. As it was getting heavier, they went out all day. And Thursday, again, went out all day. And, Thursday morning, since I got back out there, things were looking pretty good. Well, then Thursday afternoon, winds started kicking up and started getting cold. So it was blowing. So when it's blowing, we go out and plow. Guy goes down and plows his road, turns around, comes back, and it's already blown back in. So went back out Friday morning, early, wind died down, and hit it all day Friday. By the end of the day Friday, we were looking good. So now Thursday, all right, let's go back. We'll start with this. So we're as warm as it was before this all came. Everything was soft. So the different roads we try and be really careful on. So what the guys will do is they'll put their blade down and raise it up so they're not right on the road. And this just happened to be an example that he was going down the road, his front tire hit a softer spot, so when the tire went down, that blade actually went and hit the road. And it caught and it gouged that road. And then this that you see here is out of the back of the truck. The truck leaned over and it actually threw this out of the back of the truck over the side.
Wow.
So we did get to the stone roads then, and Thursday, Friday, we worked on them, and actually worked on some again yesterday. So we do go on the stone roads. We want to be very careful with them because we don't want anybody hurt. We don't want the equipment destroyed. And then it took a whole truckload of stone to fill in what he had grooved out with the blade.
It was about 2 foot deep.
Yeah, he cut a 2-foot groove in the road.
How much does one truck weigh when you got loaded with salt?
Well, with the front blade on,
I don't know if we've ever weighed one.
we've got a blade on, but 27 axles.
18.
18,000 probably. Then
Put
put
it
that
in,
in.
put sand, salt
Yeah.
back, and plus the front plows.
So you're probably close to 30,000.
30,000.
Yeah.
That's probably close guesstimate.
Close.
Yeah.
So yeah. So yes, we were out all 3 days and yesterday went out, salt sanded everything. So we didn't have to plow yesterday. So they salt sanded everything. Intersections, curves, hills, bridges.
So Wednesday, you got trucks out by 9 a.m.
Yeah, it was still, just really starting to snow hard and we got out. They went out and just kept plowing.
Yeah. So, very good. Yeah, because as hard as that was coming down, that paid to get out early and get on the roads early.
And then, the thing was, by Thursday morning, then, heck, things were looking good. And then that wind kicked up and it just created another mess. Yeah, so anyhow, Friday came in early and landed day Friday, things were looking good. It was still slow, but.
I think part of what nobody understood was why the schools were kept delayed and then closed. That part I didn't understand either.
Yeah.
But that's a tough decision too, I realize.
Yeah, they had a tough decision. Yep, that's the school. That's the schools, that's up to the schools to decide.
Late Thursday and then again Friday, when the wind came in and dried the snow out, all of a sudden, I went down the barrel 100, when I came back 2 hours later, it was flowing across that baby and slicker than
When that was Thursday?
down Thursday afternoon. And then, like he said, there was a lot of ice and slick spots where the snow blew across, melted and froze, and they had to look out for all the roads in the county.
Yeah, actually, the best superintendents get with the superintendent of the schools and go out and drive the roads in the morning, and then make a determination on what they're gonna do. I remember that from my school board days.
Well, and they reach out to you at all, Brad, when they're trying to.
Yeah, they do. We actually had a meeting then Thursday and met with the Adams Central School Superintendent and School Board President.
Yeah, and I appreciated that, because they contacted me, and you were good enough to have a meeting on short notice. So then that's when Joel came in, we all sat, it was probably 2 hours, we sat down and talked about how they make decisions, how you make decisions. You know, that whole discussion was a real productive discussion. Because I think he's gonna, make a lot better effort at keeping in contact with you, I think, on how things look, and also the sheriff, Sheriff.
Yeah, just to say, I was in contact with all three superintendents because my deputies are on the road all night long, and I called them, they give me progress, and I give them, and Friday, it was due to the ice. Nothing that these guys did, it was just the snow that was on the road that dripped over, got packed down, and it turned into a sheet of ice, and that's why a lot of the county roads was just ice covered. Sun came out at 10 and melted that ice away off the blacktops, but it wasn't that the roads were impassable, they were just very icy. 27 coming home Thursday afternoon was horrible south of Monroe. I mean, horrible. There was half inch of ice on US 27.
Yeah, that's where it's all open and blows across.
The roads were impassable. It was just very icy, and the buses trying to make those turns and stuff. It's not good for those buses and their students. So
well, that was really interesting talking to Mr. McCaffrey, because he talked about that, being in contact with superintendents from around the surrounding counties. Plus, he said he calls his transportation officer every morning at 5 o'clock, which that guy really appreciates. So, but yeah, he talked about just, including Brad.
I mean, they reach out to us. We give them what our officers tell us what we see, and then they go out and see for themselves and make a decision.
Yeah. It was kind of interesting because he said he grew up in Alaska. So they kind of have a different element to deal with that there.
I know one of the things that I remember from my school days too is talking about those buses going around the corners. But lots of times that's the issue is it may be possible for a car, but when those buses go to turn a corner, they need a lot more space than I do going around the corner of my pickup truck. So they've got, and then you guys are out there tidying up those corners and pushing snow back to make more of a, and that just takes time. Anything you would do differently, I know probably as always happens, but as a new commissioner, all of a sudden I'm paying attention when we get those complaints. We did have some complaints. Anything you would do differently?
No, I mean, everything worked out good.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, you could change if the wind wouldn't have came up and that kind of stuff, but one other thing I thought about, I think I mentioned this before too, stone roads, we do not, you don't put salt on the stone road. But we don't do that. That would make the road even softer and it'll ruin that part of the road.
Sure.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
One thing these guys contended with, my best buddy is weather specialist Rick McCoy, and we were talking back and forth. When this storm came, normally when they come this late, the ground is frozen hard. We had 2 weeks in a row of 40-degree weather, and this snow fell on unfrozen ground. And so we had, Rick said, from Van Wert to Decatur to Fort Wayne, almost 7 inches. And everybody looks out and says 7 inches. But he said the snow was so heavy and wet, falling on the unfrozen ground, that it melted the first inch or two, and then it all just packed down. And he said that causes much more of an icy glacial type storm. And so they had an unusual storm to deal with.
So yeah, we go out, we drive the roads. We go out and drive them before work in the morning, go out during the day to see where we're at.
Good.
Yeah, kind of back to the superintendent's decision, a couple interesting things that he has to consider too, is not only the buses themselves, the Vancouver buses, and how they have to turn corners and deal with that, but he said the average age of his fleet of drivers is 68 years old. That's the average age of his bus drivers. So you've got people out there that are, have been driving a long time, probably, but they're seasoned, yes. So, but the other thing is, with that, a lot of the students that drive to school, this could very well be their first winter season of driving. So, I mean, he's just got a lot of things to consider.
Yeah,
when they make those
those guys have a tough job, and I'm sure they err on the side of safety.
No matter what you do, you're gonna get complaints.
Doesn't matter. But, so, with the challenge that this was, that's the best that you can possibly do is get out there early and stay after it. It sounds like that's what you did, so.
Wednesday was the only day that was weird because I'll admit, we were all pumped up thinking, hey, we're going to get a bunch of snow. They put her down for a while and then it backed off and it's like,
Yeah,
so we were a little bit, we were a little disappointed. We didn't get more, but
well,
yeah.
so I hope you don't get your wish.
I appreciate you guys and gals. I know that's not something that when I'm sitting at home in front of the fireplace.
Again, hey, I'm going to invite you guys.
I understand that.
You got a little bit of the full experience, the truck right off.
I would say, show me pictures like this, I didn't know that I'm interested.
We were glad Stan wasn't riding then because it may not have been something. You guys let us know. We'll put you with the driver.
You don't know until you've been there.
Yeah.
But I appreciated the opportunity to ride along with Jeff and see what I'd never ridden a plow before. So I appreciated that opportunity.
Little difference behind the windshield than it is watching it go by from your front step. But
When we were going through deep snow, and that stuff starts coming up over the plow, and it's just like, how in the heck can you see where you're going? I mean, it's just white out once you're hitting drifts. So.
So seriously, if you guys are invited, you ever want to, when we're getting snow, let us know.
We'll do that.
So,
We'd be more than happy to.
since I've rode once, can I drive next time?
He's staying, that might stay any questions. They always cover.
Yeah.
All right.
Have a CDL though.
No, not a good idea.
I don't think you're covered under insurance, is it, Carla? No, you're not, Steve.
We're happy. We're thankful the sun's out, everything was awesome today.
Yeah.
So,
Good.
all right, thanks for, so, another thing, I want to get out in the media. We had 6 more signs stolen over the weekend.
Good Lord.
And even the signs we've been putting the locking nuts on.
Now they figured it out.
Yeah. So I just wanted to let you know, and it's the same area again. You got Salem Road, 3 South, 5 South, just that whole general area. It's the same area again. So just kind of putting it out there, keep your eyes open, you see some, let the sheriff's department know. They're great, they're already looking into it. But yeah, 6 more over the weekend, and it just so happened that yesterday with our route drivers being out, salt sand and that and checking roads, he's like, oh, that's missing. This one's missing. So our sign guys go out and put up new signs again.
Don't those people realize that those signs are there for a reason? They're there for road safety, they're there, to let people know what the road is and what it is. Don't they realize that if somebody gets hurt,
We discussed that, I think, that the people just
Control sign, they're only hitting the street number signs.
no, or arrows, all around arrows. Yeah, that's been their big thing. They like the arrows.
Now, they-
Making curves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No. Well, that's why they say, well,
There's one there.
if they have curb signs.
Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out there again, let them know it's still going on and it's happening over the weekends. And sometime during the night apparently, so nobody's seen it yet, so.
We'll have to get some more patrols out there.
Yeah.
Or pay some Amish the village.
That's, I mean, the sheriff's department, they've done a good job there. Yeah, they're investigating, they're looking for it, so. The only other thing we really have, and this kind of leads to maybe also a question for Mark. You know, we told you guys we're gonna be coming to you here sometime with some of the stuff we'd like to update in that. And we're finding out, like, for example, Paul found out to get a new 3/4 ton pickup right now. Baldwin Chevy is not even taking orders this year.
Go ahead.
On the 3/4 ton stuff. So we've talked about this before. You know, what do we do? So that's maybe a discussion we need to have with Mark someday too, that,
Maybe as far as bidding that out,
yeah, bidding it out, they're not available. Can we go to the lots here and there, how we gotta do it? Then the other thing too, we had talked about before is like the dirt loader we had discussed last year. And Paul's been digging into it and finding, one dealership had a bunch of nice used ones, like a few years old. So we made contact with them. And what's happening with them too, new machines, a dirt loader is a year out. So all these nice used machines they have, they do a rental also. So instead of being able to rent out new machines, they're renting out these used ones. There's nothing out there. So that's why, you know, Paul has done a very good job. He's been diligent on making contact. Stuff's just hard to come by right now.
so is that something to look into as a lease program for us?
Something like that with the lease program. I don't know if it'd be cost effective with the dirt loader because it's not, one, they're not readily available. Two, they're not normally, there's not a lot of places out there that utilize them. Allen County does. Allen County actually has a new one on order, but they're not getting rid of their old ones because they're like, we can't get one, so we're hanging on to everything we got. West County doesn't have one. Jay County doesn't use them. Basically, I think Allen County is the only ones that use them other than us.
Any of the surrounding.
Surrounding counties, there you go.
Wells County has been looking into it though. They are looking into it. So this is just a heads up discussion. This is the stuff we're dealing with. You know, just so you guys know.
Seems to be the trend is if you're after something, it's at least a year out if you can even order it.
Well, that really screws with your rotation on equipment.
Well, and with our budget, trying to get, you know, we got stuff set aside for equipment each year. Well, if I order it, I can't get it until next year.
Yeah.
But you know, this year's not screwed up, next year's really screwed up because now you're a year behind everything.
Cancel season was sitting there.
Yeah. And so what we can do is like this year's money, we can ear tag for stuff we may not get till next year as long as it's ordered this year. That through their schedule off even more than the next year. So it's just a heads up for you guys.
So, with that equipment money, are you able to cover that from year to year then?
If we have an ear tag for
If we have
something,
if we have an individual situation,
you've got to order. Yes.
yeah.
If
We don't know when we're gonna be able to order. Exactly. So, but this is just a heads up with you guys. We'll come back with more information. And like I said, it'd be a good discussion right now with Mark too. So, you know, Brad, I'm not sure this is going away. You know, I think we need to figure out how to live in this environment of, Exactly.
You can't just order one today and pick it up tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I think your scheduling and your equipment replacement plan and all that stuff. I think you have to just build a long lead time into that plan, and we're gonna have to understand that, and council's gonna have to understand
Yes.
that. And that's why this is informative for you guys. Thank you. I mean, you guys all see it, you know, but we have to change our mindset a little bit.
Or new normal.
Yeah, there you go. It's in our personal lives too, we see it.
Yep. Yeah.
See, if you're you see it as far as your cars.
I ordered cars last October and I don't know when I get them delivered. I mean, they quit taking my orders, by the end of October of last year for 23 vehicles. And, I don't know what, there's no delivery date as of yet. So we're seeing it everywhere across the state.
So I think in your replacement plan, you have to build in I don't know what you need to build in a 1 year lead time to order this year and whatever comes in next year, I guess.
I was able to place an order, so I know I'll get it, but like with them, they place an order, encumber the money, if it's not spent, and carry it over, because you have to have a purchase order, then encumber it, and you just get it when you get it, but you can plan on It's 6 months plus out. I've been waiting on a fire suppression system for a room for almost a year, and they're waiting on a nozzle. So, it's all across the spectrum of what we deal with.
Well, even Jim was just saying, you know, just like with office equipment in here, with printers, computers, things like that. I mean, those are, it's a year, we're being told they're at least a year out. If we order today, it's gonna be at least a year. And, you know, our lease is actually up on the ones we have now, so.
So Steve, aren't you glad you got out of business?
You don't care.
You don't care anymore. Yeah, I know.
As long as the broom truck shows up behind, so.
Well, this is economy for you guys when you, like I said, that's my days, so. Yep, it's just adjusting. Good. Yeah, that's all we got, I think, right?
Thanks again, Matt. All right, Rick, do you have anything for us?
Lucky bears. I know a guy who can't get equipment.
Yeah.
Everybody knew normal.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I just have an update for you. Excuse me. The wall that you approved, it's down and hauled out of here.
Right, good. Nobody got hurt?
No. So they want to break it up. Going on to the next step was the wall to go up, stand 10-foot wall.
Yeah.
TG, Tyler Gage, he did not quote it. He gave me quotes for the other things going on. But I do have a quote from S&P Construction, which tore down the wall. Yeah. That total amount is $5,150. You want to go ahead and buy the wall on here and have him do it?
And that would be a 10-foot wall from front to back.
Yeah, that would be a 21 by 10-foot wall, 21 feet long by 10 foot high.
And that would not include a ceiling over that.
Now,
Okay.
And the material goes in the wall.
the material
For the wall.
The material is, he has down here 1,250.
Okay. But actually, what's getting constructed out of, is it a block wall? Is that what's going in?
Yeah, it's a block wall. It's going to be fireproof, to hang our electrical handles here.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Tony.
Do we need ceiling in there for Jim to start moving the pile?
I think in that room, the one side's gonna be a UPS room, is how Mike has it designed. And then the other room, so where the UPSs are going in, we don't need one in there. But I think he does want a ceiling in, just like the room next door with that 10-foot wall. That's why it's gonna be 10 foot and spanning across that room.
Well, it just makes me wonder if we need to have it put that with the ceiling so that Jim can start with.
Well, we should be okay there.
Okay,
As long as that wall goes up, Gene can do what he's gotta do.
okay.
And we kind of want that open until they start running
Then that road
and
can-
all that stuff. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's fine then.
I think the phases that you laid out, Stan, is, I mean, we got the wall down, we're gonna put the wall back up, and then the opening in the hall,
So that we can get started.
so we can get started.
Yeah, so we can ready that power room for the generator and also move the panels over out of the server room
Yep,
so that we've got additional room in that server room.
when it's all said and done, everything will be centralized in that one location, and that's where that's what it'll be.
Yeah.
So your concern is that you only have one bid on this, but you solicited additional bids. You just didn't get a response.
That's right.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
What's the amount on the bid quote?
The total quote is $5,150.
Okay.
Okay. Good. Got a motion?
Yep.
Second. Okay. Motion
Um,
carries.
That's the other thing that I want to say with the snow. It was a challenging day, but I want to thank the parks for what they did, and Phil and Yolanda. I mean, it was a nonstop day.
Oh,
You cleaned one area, you went to the next. You clean one entry, you went to the next. But the parks did great with cleaning out the best they could. So
What a terrible snow to try and shovel or drill or whatever, just,
And you can't do anything but shovel because of the steps.
Yeah.
right.
The worst time to happen, the steps weren't working at the courthouse.
Yeah.
So, anyway, but that's all they did all day. It
Did you
wasn't-
figure that out then, why they weren't?
Yeah, the boiler, there's a pump out on the east side that I gotta get replaced. On the other side, the boiler was out. I had to relight it. But once we got it lit after the fact, you didn't have time to do anything. You just had to keep shoveling.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's really all I have for now.
Any questions for Rick? Thank you very much. Thanks for keeping after that snow the way it was. All right, Ed's not here.
Yeah, he is on a statewide Zoom with L&R Mail Systems or L, whatever that is.
Okay.
So he wouldn't be able to be unless we needed him.
On subdivision today. And then you're involved.
Finally.
Not this. This is, A&R subdivision, which Gene grew, with company. So it's one subdivision that was done a while back. This is where Jay Grube has his business, two large buildings. All we're doing actually is making this portion smaller and this one bigger. But, which is called a simple subdivision, but in a subdivision, it's a replat, which means you gotta sign it and approve it. There's still a lot of the acreage left. It's like it went down small, but somebody, I think a family members maybe gonna take over this house. And so the line, where this building still stays with this property and the house is over here. So that's the short version.
Motion to approve.
All right.
Is that where he does the trucks?
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, he's actually sold the business to his sons or in the process of doing that.
Okay.
He still obviously helps.
There's one in the works, yes, too. Yeah, there are more in the works, I just didn't know if they were done yet. Well, you have to re-record all the other things for record. This would be big. Thanks, Mike.
Mark, did you want to talk to us about insurance or other things?
Yeah, I've got a few things here.
Last week we'd opened 3 proposals, or entertained 3 proposals. And tabled it.
He's got an appointment, he's got an ordinance also. Yeah, I have the appointment here for you that you approved last week. It's for Tyler Schuman, as Adams County Soil and Water Conservation District Director and Conservationist. So that would be commencing as of last Tuesday when we approved that. Just need you to sign that and we'll have him come in and sign that certificate of appointment.
that'd be nice to meet him, I haven't.
Actually, I read it in my office. So if we had any questions at all, go see Stan.
There you go, so.
The next thing is an amendatory ordinance, and so you passed the first ordinance last Tuesday, and that was ordinance 2023-1, just creating the fund for the federal asset forfeitures to be used by the Adams County Sheriff's Department. And after reviewing that, we needed to add a specific fund number for that, which is fund number 4906. And talking with Bree, that should be the correct number, so we've added that. So this is just a mandatory ordinance, adding that fund number. And that way it's clear to State Board of Accounts, and we've got that in the actual ordinance. So this is ordinance 2023-2, which is just a mandatory ordinance that adds that fund number. Just need a motion to approve that. We'll sign that.
So moved. Second.
Motion carries.
And then last week, we received proposals for the renewal of the county's comprehensive liability and casualty insurance. They received a quote from the incumbent, which is Hill Group is the agent. They submitted a proposal to renew coverage with Liberty. I'm just trying to remember the exact amount. You know,
330, 60.
Find it here, it's towards it. Yes, see if you can find that.
It's 36.
So the proposal submitted by Hill Group for renewal with Liberty Mutual was $336,860. And then you received a proposal from Graber Insurance for a total of $5,472. That total did include coverage for cyber liability and data compromise, which was not required to be bid. So Tony and I looked at that. We have that coverage under a separate policy currently through Star or Hill Group, and that premium is a little less than $13,000. But anyway, even after you adjust for that, it looks like, at least in terms of just raw numbers, the renewal proposal by Hill Group is still substantially less than the other quote that you have here from Bixler. I'm sorry, from Graber. We have a little from Bixler. But they didn't have enough time to submit competitive quotes, and also the suggestion to possibly designate them as agent of record and then get quotes later this spring. So anyway, that's up for consideration in front of you today. So have you had a chance to review those? Do you have any questions on that?
So, the quote from Star for Liberty was how much? 370, 336, 860.
Graders was 405. If you subtract the cybersecurity from that, it's 385, not quite 390.
And both of those carriers meet our specifications as far as the quality of the carrier and the.
I mean, as far as I believe Mark looked through all of these. I believe so. And I think, you know, any discussion on, servicing or anything like that would be a discussion with you three probably, because these were actually before I even took office.
And Graber was bidding, for Trident.
Yeah. And then the process, maybe Mark, you can explain that a little bit. It's a little, maybe one of the insurance agents can, it's kind of weird how all that works, and I'm not quite clear exactly, but, if one agency locks up a carrier or two, then that leaves the other carriers for the others to try to get, and then once they're all locked up, you can't get a quote for that one because it's locked up by another. And I'm not, I think is that just a standard process that happens every time? Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
So that's kind of the process that you're dealt with, and
it may be that you decide to, you've got a good renewal, maybe renew and then decide what you're gonna do next year, and maybe start the process in September, and maybe you look at, doing an RFP to, look at the agencies in Adams County that could service the account and put it out for, proposals that way for 2024 renewal.
I like that idea. I feel like we're kind of late in the game to make a big change right now. And we have a very competitive quote from Hope Group, but kind of a little bit of understanding more how the insurance world works. My understanding is that different agencies can probably team up with the same carrier, but so maybe it does make sense for us to make an agency decision and then let that agent go to the market for us in our name and solicit competitive quotes. But we would have to do that early on in the process, earlier than what we're at today, is my understanding.
And I guess I'm wondering, because I know Mark and I worked really hard at getting all the information out to everybody. So would an agency be able to take that load off of the attorney or the auditor if the commissioner said, okay, we want this bid competitively with all your carriers every 2 years? Then that agency could do that work.
I guess I would think that maybe that information would be what an agency would come in and make a presentation to us about how they would manage our account.
I say.
Yeah, I mean, that's something obviously you can, you're at the point now where I think you gotta get a renewal and then see how you might want to do things differently next year.
Well, and it sounds like part of the issue is, the price point that the Hill Group has come up with for Liberty is the best price point for the proper amount of coverage that we need. Graber was next with, coming in with Trident, even though they're a little bit higher, relatively, considering the cyber coverage included or not included. And then with Bixler participating without a quote, it was difficult for us to assign anything that way. So to me, it almost makes sense to renew our coverage with Star and Hill Group with the Liberty Company. I don't know what you guys think.
Steve?
I think we ought to go back with Hill Group until we get,
But it is, like we've talked about, not just a matter of price point, it's a matter of servicing the account. And so I don't know that we've had any difficulty or complaints about the way our account has been serviced. But it is always appreciated to have help as we look at our policy, and any changes that we might make.
I mean, from my viewpoint, Carlos, who I always deal with and never had a problem. I mean, the question could be, from what we were paying, this is a lot less. So maybe that can stay competitive every year, because it was able to go down quite a bit with Liberty Mutual, so maybe we can shop out of that a little more often. But that'd be the only.
You know, like Steve said, if we're gonna reevaluate, they would pay to reevaluate in September, or October, rather than the end of January.
If we're gonna make maybe we do it, maybe we commit to do it in September, make a decision in September. Maybe we have the local agencies come in and make a presentation to us, how they would service our account and what carriers they can go to, and solicit bids and kind of give a whole, and then we can make a decision at that point from the agency perspective. And then they could have time then to go to their carriers and bid the business for us.
The only issue there that I would ask about is, like I said, Mark and I were getting all this information out as we got it. But, and I don't think it was a fault of Carl or Star, but Travelers was a little late in getting loss runs and a couple of things back to us that everybody needed. And that was what caused some of the delay in getting every bit of information. But as we were getting everything, we were sending it out to all three. But I believe I started that in October. So we have to make sure that we get everything that these companies would need in order to make valid proposals.
But we really wouldn't need that to make an agency decision. Then if we make an agency
It's the
decision,
carriers to make their proposals.
the carriers would need to be able to get that information.
Well, I certainly appreciate your work and Mark's work on putting together the asset management and the inventory lists and all that.
We have some of that as well, on capital asset and all that stuff.
The good news, I assume, since you've done it this year, to tidy it up for a proposal again next year would be easier.
I would think so.
You just have to update what you've done this year.
And then quite frankly, a lot of the shipping issues that we're talking about earlier actually helped in that regard, because there wasn't a lot of new stuff that was in the contracts. So, so that helped, and we were able to get out some of that stuff fairly quickly.
With that being said, I appreciate all of your work in-house to put that together, and I appreciate the participation from Star and from Gabriel and also from Dixler. I appreciate that. So, it sounds like we've got a motion moved, seconded, and carried to renew our policy with the Hill Group through Liberty Insurance. So, all right. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thanks. Tony, if you could remind us of our commitment on the September timeframe or August timeframe, maybe we could put out to the local agents then and ask them to come in and make proposals in September so we don't forget. And that on your master calendar. So
that is, I should have that right for budget time.
They're not doing anything about that time. Nothing at all.
So what I hear you say is that later this year for 2024, you actually want agencies that want to come in and service the account to make a proposal as to why they should be that agency.
That would be my thinking.
Yeah, and I think, we can investigate that further and see kind of what
a request for proposals for that might look like. For sure.
Good. I mean, yeah, I can keep that on my radar. All right, very good.
Yeah. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you. All right, looks like Ed got in here, so if you'd like to come on up. Oh, no, I'm sorry, I'm not fully finished, I didn't mean to.
I've got one more, but I can get started on work, so I'll wait. So.
Okay. With that appointment, does that complete our whole list of appointments that we were to make? I don't know that we have anything else.
Have to look, there may be a few vacancies that we still have to fill, but
Okay.
other than that, I think that's.
Trying to think if there was one, you mentioned the
Health board.
health board might be one. And Doug was still interested in. Wasn't he on the health board?
I know they had a list of names, but I haven't heard any come back to Jessica yet.
I don't know, we'll have to talk to Jessica.
Because they have to try to get it, they have to send so many doctors or something on that board.
We need to check on the makeup of that and see who an eligible appointee is for that.
Just looking now on some of our ongoing business, as far as the land sale on 200 East, we have sent letters of interest to, and Ed put those together and helped with those, to county auctioneers to see if they would be interested in doing that auction for us. So we are going to be meeting with them. I've contacted all of them. There's 6 of them that are interested in
You're there.
coming in to talk to us about selling that property. So we will be having those interviews coming up here and promoting the sale of the farm ground on 200 East.
Stan, do you have a date and time?
Well, I do not yet. So, that's something that hopefully we can still talk about today and do that as soon as possible, so.
Yeah.
Just kind of looking at my time.
Unless Shannon has anything either, but she's telling me.
Steve, have you had an opportunity to sit in with Monroe Town Council as far as?
I have not yet, but they have a meeting Thursday night,
Okay.
and it's my plan to join them for that meeting. And I, more than anything, I have begin to attend those meetings regularly, so I don't know that.
Okay.
The answer is no. I'm recognized.
Besides, we'll take that out.
One of the things, and it kind of follows our discussion last week with locking doors and stuff and looking at a comprehensive plan. We do have some people approach us from other departments and made the same recommendation for them to look at a consultation for a comprehensive security plan for some other departments also. So, that's something that we take very seriously and we'll continue to pursue. I don't see anything else. More. Okay. All right, if that's all you have for us, then, Ed, do you have anything that you want to?
Just real quick, as you spoke on the land sale, I was contacted by one of those auctioneers. They wanted some additional information, stuff they could have got on their own through our different websites, but I helped them with that. And so there's a lot of interest, and I'm sure that we're starting to get around not only to those auctioneers, but to the potential buyers. So that's good. The more people are talking about it, the better chances we will have to get a real good price on the farmland, which I do believe we will. But that's down the road. I do want to let you know that the last few weeks, we've had some issues with our Pitney Bowes postage machine. It'll print 50 and then it starts to fade. The 60th one is real faint, and then it gets worse and worse and worse, and we just had issues. Then you wait a couple hours and it all comes back and everything's fine. It was very frustrating. And I worked with them, cleaned the print heads, did all the things that I knew how to do through the pity those technicians. Finally, I said, I need a service person to come in and get this fixed. We got it fixed. I don't have the bill yet, but it's you guys' bill because it's your machine. But so I told Roland and Tony about it, and so we'll pay for a service, but they were here for a very short time, so it'll be within a few $1,000s. I don't know how much it's gonna be, but we did get a new print head, plus they refreshed all the rollers and everything. It's working like a champ now. So we did want to let you know that. And other than that, that's all I have.
All right. Well, very good. I know other departments to use that machine also.
It's for the entire county.
Yeah, everybody in the whole county uses it. Well, not the whole county, but yeah, many departments use it. But we run it through, so it's not like everybody's using it. It's basically just us three that run all the mail through.
Would it make sense to have a maintenance agreement on that machine? How old is that machine?
Yeah, it's to the point where we used to have when it was brand new and for I don't know how long, a few years, and that ran out never. It's actually a very dependable machine when everything's working. And we could call them and they do a maintenance on it. Now we'll see what the cost is and then we like crunch the numbers there. But I'm going to say that we'll buy a new machine somewhere down the road here because it's a good 8 years old now.
And sometimes those machines just get beyond their useful life and you pour more money in them trying to fix them and you ready to buy a new one.
And it's not quite there yet. We'll still get it, but we run well over $250,000 of mail through there.
Yeah, sure. Use that guy.
So yeah, we use it a lot.
We pay a month, we pay on it. We have an agreement on it.
Okay, I was not aware of that.
We do. There's different bills that come each month that we pay.
I would have called them sooner.
Well, lots of times those companies aren't very good at it, but if we've got a maintenance agreement on it, and if it includes quarterly update or an annual cleaning or whatever, sometimes they will schedule that, but we need to.
Well, I will say that Kathy, my chief deputy, she made several calls and finally got some manager who she blew her top with and said, I should not have to make this many calls, and it was taken care of within 2 days. It should not have been that way, but that's how it worked out this time.
So with that maintenance agreement, I assume that if they have to replace parts, that's an additional charge.
We'll see.
Yeah.
The only thing changed was the print head.
So we've got a line item 42601 in our budget just for equipment. Would that be appropriate to look at that line item? Because it still shows 98.68% of the money unexpended.
That's probably where that comes out of.
Okay.
For equipment.
But it was to the point where I had to get it serviced, gentlemen, because it was not working right. In fact, one day we only got about half of the mail printed. And I had to take the other half to the post office and use our credit card
So
to.
don't hesitate on that stuff. You've got to have equipment that works well.
Right.
Okay. All right, very good. Thank you.
With a maintenance agreement, ship out service charge, though. You wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'll make sure.
Okay. All right, Shannon, did you have anything for us?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I got the big guns.
This would not be good.
Wow, I'm not here as the sheriff, I'm here as an EMA board member right now.
Yes.
The EMA interview panel, which consisted of me, Dan, Chris Burkhart, John Kreider, and John August, interviewed 3 different candidates for the EMA director position. And then we had an executive session with the EMA board to discuss all of those candidates. And the board took a unanimous vote to recommend Barb Lehrman as the new EMA director for 2023 once John August departs. So we are bringing you guys that recommendation from the board, seeking your approval to appoint her to that position effective March 4th, 2023.
Can you give us a bit of a rundown of what her experience is, or just generally why she was chosen?
Yeah, so Barb's been with EMA as a part-time deputy director for 8 years. She basically runs the grant side of the house in EMA right now. And from what I've been told is that it seems like every time that there's some kind of issue, John's out of town and Barb's actually the one that handles it. So she's been here, she's been immersed in the environment, she's been immersed in the department. It was a very easy kind of decision for us. So we had some other plans with the interviewees that we had that unfortunately are not going to work out, but we can go through that another day. So.
Yeah, I mean, I have had experience with her as a trooper and then as a sheriff. Like I said, she's been involved in the last couple of floods, and where John happened to be on vacation and stuff happened, so she's quite capable of doing the job. Well known down in Indianapolis, knows who to call for. And like I said, you've seen in the last couple of years the grant money she's received for my sheriff's office. I mean, she knows what she's doing.
Sounds like we're fortunate we had her sitting there waiting for this opportunity.
And really, the deputy director, I mean, they all have to know what they're doing. Because I said, if the director's gone, it's a two-man department. And we're going to be talking to you also about trying to deal with that deputy director spot too. But no, she knows what she's doing, and whoever sits that chair, that's the director's job to train them to take their spot. So, and that's what we're hoping to do in the future also.
Very good. So we look for a motion to approve the recommendation. So move.
Second.
Thanks for your work.
Yeah, absolutely. I can just switch gears really quick, and then Dan's going to go get Barb to talk about EMA otherwise here in just a second. So last week I sent you guys a job description for the IT department for the technology training coordinator. It was budgeted in 2022 for 2023, and Mike Brown and I have went back and forth to work together on that quite extensively. So I'm hoping that you'll approve the hiring of the position and the job description today, but do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions.
Okay.
I appreciate you sending us that. Did you guys get a chance to look at that job description?
I did too.
Okay.
And obviously from here, once you guys, my first step is you guys always, I have to get you to approve me hiring and then approve the job description. I still have to go to wage review. So we're still 45 to 60 days out.
And we were handed in with Mike on this.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, yeah. Okay.
Motion to approve both the job description and the position.
So move, or second.
All right.
Sorry.
Thank you.
The other thing that Dan and I guess Barb and I wanted to talk to you guys about with EMA is that as it stands right now, and I'm not necessarily looking for a decision today, but just to make you guys aware, as it stands right now, the 2 deputy director positions in EMA are part-time. There is $36,000 or $37,000 budgeted for those 2 positions, and then EMA also receives a grant from the state for $35,000 for whatever positions we have in EMA to cover salaries, but it does not cover benefits. So a while back, John came to me, and I've
So
been working.
that's in addition to the $37,000 budget.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So a while back, John came to me, and then I've been working with John and Barb over the last couple weeks to try to establish where we could go from having those 2 part-time positions to a full-time position. That's the goal. We've had turnover in that department in the last couple years, and it's very hard to get somebody to be here part-time in that position. So we kind of did some loose math, and we figured that it would only cost us an extra $12,000 to $15,000 a year plus benefits between the grant and what we already have budgeted. So I just want to put it out there for you guys to think about and consider changing the 2 part-time positions in EMA to a full-time deputy director position. And it would just leave us with 2 people in the department versus 3.
So we would just turn the 2 part-time into 1 full-time.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So, hey, congratulations.
Thank you. They said yes.
Good.
I told her she's stuck now.
Not even a year in charge.
Yeah, but it just, like I said, it just makes more sense because we have had turnover. Barb has been there the longest, but we have had turnover in those two part-time positions. And it's getting harder and harder to fill part-time positions these days for people who want to be here, you know, for an extended period of time, especially in a department like EMA, so.
And with EMA, they have to get certain certifications, going through incident command levels, and it's just a lot for a part-time gig. It takes a certain person, to be on call, has to respond when the weather's bad, things like that. It's just, I think it'd be helpful to get a person in there who's willing, wanting to learn, get them established, work under Bob for Barb as well, while she's gonna be here. And then when she decides to retire, we have that person with hopefully her experience. Because if we don't get that, and Barb retires here in 5, 10, 15 years, then we're gonna be in trouble. So I would recommend that you guys approve the two go to one full-time spot, with understanding we still have to go in front of council to get the rest of the funding for it. We understand that.
I was always a little bit confused sometimes when those grants were, you had to be careful, we had to be careful as far as going towards the LAPC side or the EMA side. So I don't know if that's gonna enter into it at all.
It shouldn't have any effect at all, no.
Because even if that full-time person would still have LAPC duties, or would still have, and those would have to be tracked a little bit, I assume, or.
Yes,
Yeah.
the LAPC requirements are annual and they are very strict.
Okay.
That is part of what I have been doing ever since I've been there. There are specific documents that LAPC requires that you prove that your employees have taken so much training, received certificates for that training. For instance, on this I'm doing right now, which is part of the salary grant, we have to prove that every employee for 2022 attended, it's called HSEEP exercise, which means it's approved by the state or FEMA. And so we have to supply that certificate. We also have to supply certificates for about 15 training classes that each person is required to do from the time they start the job to current.
Okay.
And then we have to also include all the pay stubs for the entire year. We have to include all the timesheets for the entire year. So those are all things that are required by LAPC for us to apply for the EMPG salary grant.
And you have always complied and been able to do that satisfactorily to get the grant. Those are things that I sign also when they come through our office.
Exactly.
And all of the grants, we have to still keep track of all those grants when we do the audit. So we all kind of have to work together on
Correct.
getting all those grants and whatever appropriately.
And luckily, so far, although the state has made a zillion changes over the last 5 years, the request or the requirements for LEPC and the EMPG salary grant have remained very consistent. So we know every year at this time that there are a slew of documents that we have to get gathered together, have ready to go so that we can submit those. So instead of waiting till the last minute, as those certificates and those training certificates come in, I would just save them on my computer, and then they're all put into one file, and I can submit the whole file.
And that, moving that 2 employees to 1 employee would still comply with all those
Yes.
requirements.
Yes.
Probably would make that a lot easier.
Yeah.
Yes, it really would. Yeah.
I mean, to me, that sounds like an efficient way to move ahead. Because, your department is one of those departments that nobody thinks about until we have to think about it.
You're right. Yeah.
So,
And Shannon's worked with John Kreider, the EMA board president, about job descriptions and all that, merging the part-time into a full-time job description. I believe you have that all finished.
I don't have it ready for you guys, but yes.
It's pretty much done. She's just got to get in the right format for you. So like I said, today you're not necessarily asking for an answer. She will provide you with the new job description and all that, and maybe next week possibly come after an answer.
And then I'd still have to go to wage review on.
So once it comes here, if we approve it, then it goes to wage review.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does it have to be before council then to figure out where the extra money's coming from then, right?
Yeah, so it'll go to wage review on the 14th, hopefully, of February, and then right to council after that in that same meeting. That's my goal.
Yeah.
So, okay, just something to think
I
about.
mean, to me, it makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
And that is also the recommendation of the EMA board too, is to go from a 2 part-time to 1 full-time.
Okay, so once again, congratulations.
Thanks.
Thanks you.
Thanks, ma'am.
It's nice to meet you guys too.
Yeah, nice to see you. I don't know that I've ever met you.
I don't think I have.
Yeah. Looking forward to working with you.
Pardon?
Looking forward to working with you.
It's awesome. Thank you very much. Appreciate it so much. Stan, good to see you.
But you don't do any fishing trips in Canada, though?
No fishing, no, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna have to be stuck with me when an emergency happens. Yeah, town. You, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Very good. Okay,
I got a few more things for you.
yep, I think we're ready.
Good choice.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got, this is an ordinance that establishes Title IV E Legal Representation Fund. Title IV E funds include funds for legal representation which receive in addition to the 40% as part of Title IV E agreement. We just needed to create a separate fund number for that, and that is the Title IV E Legal Representation Fund, Fund number 8111, established as part of the county general fund. And so the Adams County Auditor shall deposit all Title IV E payments received by Adams County, the Title IV E legal representation into that fund. And a claim created against said fund for full reimbursement amount. And so we just need to, talk with Bree here. We had to make a couple changes to this, but that actually goes into that fund, and then those funds are expended according to the expenditure requirements for those funds. So it's just a separate fund.
I was surprised we never had that,
What?
this fund.
It's a new thing.
For Title IV.
It's a new thing.
It's something new.
Yeah, it just came about last year.
Yeah, recently.
It's called Senator's Office had to sign an agreement, and yeah, it just started last year.
Motion approved.
That's number 3.
Motion carries. All right, just making sure we have this. This is 2023-3. All right, did you already make a motion on that? All right.
Is that another one we'll be just scanning sent to you?
Yep. And the last thing I have, we had the bids for the sale of county surplus property. You received one bid for the minimum bid amount of $500, and that was submitted by Dennis and Pat Johnson.
I have the deed prepared. Just need a motion to execute the deed. And I'll have you sign the deed and the sales disclosure. And as soon as they bring the funds into Adams County, then we'll release that for recording.
Seconds.
Okay.
So right here, just need your signature on that.
Need to get rid of this choice real estate. Put it back.
No,
What have we done here?
let's see. Yeah, everybody.
Oh, I'm sure you for
This is kind of like having an unlimited closing.
Yeah, so I guess they just have, which I only need one signature on this. I don't know why they've got Steve. This is Steve and Steve on there for signature seller, so, yeah, I don't think you can sign it.
Okay.
I really just need one to sign. All right, that's fine.
With this, and Mark, is this go with that?
Yeah, that goes with the ordinance. Or the date.
No.
This is the sales disclosure. So you sign right there.
So he has his place out there.
Not there. Not that I,
Any dead bodies or?
yeah.
Yeah, they'll probably drill for oil on that property. Get rich.
Not very big. All right. Get that back on the tax rolls.
Well, good, I'm glad that worked out.
Shannon must not be this is good. I know. Oh, she might be back. I think that's all I got.
Okay. Anything from the general public?
Skating copies of those.
All right.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion carries.
I'm gonna leave this.